It can be inferred that a dummy of a male indigo bunting was placed near the tape recorder that played the song of different species in order to try to. The references to the third paragraph, we see it here, realizing that the ability to distinguish the songs of one species from those of another could be an important factor in the evolution of the figures. We tested species recognition of a song. When we played a tape recording of a lazuli bunting or a painted bunting, male indigo buntings did not respond, even when a dummy of a male indigo bunting was placed near the tape recorder. Playing an indigo bunting song, however, usually brought an immediate response, making it clear that a male indigo bunting can readily distinguish songs of its own species from those of other species. So let's look at the options. A says, simulate the conditions in nature. Perhaps, but this is too generalized. It was not just to simulate the conditions, it was trying to convince the indigo bunting, the male indigo bunting, that the tape recorder that was playing the lazuli bunting song was a member of its own species. And that's why the dummy of the male indigo bunting was placed near the tape recording. So not a very good answer. Let's not eliminate it just yet. Let's see if we can find a better option. Otherwise, this would have to do. This would have to suffice. B says, rule out visual cues as factor in species recognition. This is quite perfect and much better than A. We see that with the phrase, even with a dummy of a male indigo placed near the tape recorder. So when the tape was played, which was a recording, which had a recording of a lazuli bunting or a painted bunting on it, the male indigo buntings did not respond, even when a dummy of a male indigo bunting was placed near the tape recorder. Notice the phrase, even when. When we have this, we realize that the experiment was relating to the sound figures, the songs of the bunting, and the researchers, the ones who are conducting this experiment, what they were trying to do was trying to trick the male indigo bunting into responding to the songs of the lazuli bunting. In other words, to respond to the song of a different species. Although they did not get a response, they tried to rule out that whether there were any visual cues, because if it is possible that if the bird didn't see another bird, then it would probably not respond. But to rule that out, they did place a dummy of a male indigo bunting near the tape recorder. And despite that, the male indigo bunting did not respond. So we find that ruling out visual cues as a factor in species recognition, because here the only factor that they needed to test was, the significant factor was the songs or the song figures. And that was an auditory and a sound-based, an audio-based medium, or an audio-based based factor. They wanted to rule out visual factors as contributing to the same recognition or interfering in the same recognition. So B can be qualified, and by comparison, we can eliminate A. It was too general anyways. Option C tells us provide data on the habits of bunting species other than the indigo bunting. Quite incorrect. The experiment was being conducted on the male indigo bunting. The lazuli bunting or the painted bunting, those which are the other species of bunting, that is not the key focus. The key focus remains the male indigo bunting throughout the passage. So C is incorrect. Option D says, confound the indigo buntings in the experiment. Then again, this is wrong. Confound the indigo buntings. They did not want to confound or confuse the indigo buntings. What they wanted was to check whether the indigo bunting would respond to the call of another type of bunting, which was in this case the lazuli bunting. So this is also incorrect. We can eliminate option D. The correct answer is option B.